but data control language. The DB earlier people who are working as a DBA, they used to do this actually. And as a DBA, they can control the system and they can manage the system, and that was the expectation. So this is in this session we wanted to understand that what is DCL. DCL means what, and what kind of the support they are going to provide for our database applications. It is just quick sessions we will discuss, and after that we'll try to understand PLSQL. That is a programming language for SQL, which is more important for us actually. When you talk about data control language, usually it may be Oracle, it may be MySQL, or it may be SQL Server. We have to control the database system. So why do you need to control the database system? Because for all the users, we can't provide the similar kind of access. And also it is not required to give the explicit access on all types of tables. Some people need view permission, some people may need insertion operation, some people need update operation, some people need the modification or delete operations on maybe tables, views, stored procedures of execution. So that is what we call it as a data control language. That means a set of SQL commands we are going to write. Using that, we can control the system. So what are the two main the concepts what we are talking about is, one is grant, another one is revoke. When you say grant, we are providing the permission to execute like on the table or views or anything. Revoke means I want to revert back. So then we are getting into the revoke. So what are the key roles and functions of DCL ensuring for data securities? One is access control, where we are talking about grant and revoke, where allow database administrator or a DBA kind of person can help to develop different layers of access, and also permissions to the level of select, insert, update, delete query. We can get into that. And also set of users, we can create some permissions, that is called role-based access control. And this will help data confidentiality. So that means it can restrict for some users to access a sensitive information. So this is what we call it as a data control language. So that means we have understood one is grant, another one is revoke. Grant command is for a specific permission or privileges to be given to the user or roles. If you look at the syntax grant, privilege, on which object? We will see with an example at this moment. Remember and recollect. Grant is a command. And privilege we wanted to provide. The privilege or a permissions. On which table, which object, which database object. We have to tell. And then we can try to, for example, grant select on the localhost database. Like this we can provide. So that means we can provide grant insert is a on insert command execution on which table or object, view, to which role we can give it. So likewise we can give that the several permissions, that is called granting. The opposite process of this we call it as a revoke. Revoke privileges on object from user or role. So this is how we can see that. The simple example is there: grant select comma insert on employees table to the user one. So you have a user one, for him on which employees, if he logs in, he can work on select and insert command, but he can do the delete. Similarly, if I want to revoke insert or employees from user one. So using this, we can control the database object. So for that reason, first you should know how to create a user also. So how do you create a user? Create user. So username you can create like a test user at which host, whether it is a local host or some server where database is there. identified by password. So like this, I can create an user. Okay, if you have a complete permission to do that, you can create a user, my user at localhost identified by my password. So using this, we can able to do that. So username and host name on which machine, and by setting the password, I can create the user using the user statement. So this is also one of the helpful command to create a multiple users on the database object. Similarly, these are the simply directly I can say that grant, select, insert, update, delete on which database to which username. Similarly, example here, select, insert, update on my database. If there is a database, star all, okay, all tables of this database to this user. So that means this line is telling that it is providing the all the privileges for the database, okay, having for this user I'm only on these commands. So this is how we can provide it. If I want to provide all our privileges, okay, then we have to use grant all privileges on database name to the username at host name. So like this, we can give the privileges, granting the privileges, we can do that. Basically, if I want to explain further, better we can go to the lab set and try to execute it so that you can able to understand better. So let me clear this. Let me drop all these things, database. Okay, so I have dropped here so that you people can understand clearly. Okay. Those are database is running, PHP is running. So sorry, I will I will close this. Okay. So it is telling that one of the database is already running. Let me clear that. So we are running the exam for other application. Let me close that. Sometimes it got stuck. Yeah. So let me come back. Let us go to this. Today my system is giving a lot of troubles. So now, if I want to create a user, let me, if I want to create user, so quickly I can create user. SAP is also not responding. So if you go here, let me Open the SQL script, create database, test DCL. Just I am taking this as a DB. Okay. Refresh this. This is troubling a lot. Now let me go here. Because of the example, so morning I used for website design. So that has troubled a lot. So now let us connect standalone MySQL. So MySQL services is not running. Services, go to services. If something gets stuck, MySQL is not starting. So I will start this service. So, so actually what happened is we have Joomla, Drupal I was running for website building, which by default it will uses the MySQL and which is inbuilt, and because of that service and this service is conflicting. Since that is running that, okay, so it is taking a lot of process time, and because of that it is not able to load actually. So I have removed it, the exam server, then I tried to use the standalone MySQL server. So now I think it will be very fast. Okay, just 2 minutes we are starting this SQL service. So once this is done, so we'll see that all kind of comments. But till this, what we have understood is what is DCL. DCL is a data control language. To control, it means here which user, what kind of permissions he has to execute, what kind of commands. Basically, the more than the database administrator used to work. But since we are learning SQL and we have to understand at least at very basic level what is going on. So now let me go back here. So now I think now I am able to connect. So now I can start workbench. Now I can connect. Now I can create a database. So here, let me drop this schema. Now create a database. DDL, sorry, DCL, DB. Now if I refresh this, I can able to see the database. Now let us try to understand one by one. Now if I want to create a user, okay, if I want to create user at a high level, I wanted to understand. Create a user. Okay. So now create user identified by these things. So this is the password of that user. Since I have the admin privileges, I can create the user. So this is how we can create the user. Now, assume that I am a DBA. I have like a database access. I can control the system. Then I can use this command. First, I created the database. Then, as a DBA, there is a user, maybe test user, and localhost is my machine. So there may be some other machine also identified by which password. So this test user I created with this password. So usually if they want to log in, so I log in through the admin, but he has to use this password to log in here. So and then similarly, if I want to like if they access like this, okay, once they open like this as a test user, so what kind of operations he can do it? So that is nothing but if I have database, my database, like I am telling that all it may be table or something like that. Any table, whatever they have created, they can do select actually select command. They can execute to which user. So if I wanted to execute that providing the select this one, so I can give this. But now there is no my database DCL DB. So this is the database. If I create some table, okay. So on the table, the test user, this user has a granted the permission to work on select command. So that is what we can see that. So if I want to see what permissions I have given, so you have to go use the show grant. Okay, we can use this to show that. Okay, what is the options he has? Okay, so usage on something like this, select on something like this. So you do not require to worry too much, but this is just a simulation to understand because this is not a DBA training, but we wanted to give the awareness. Similarly, if I want to like a revoke, okay, so on the database, so we can go and revoke on this. So like here, that means removing the permissions. So we have to use the same permissions we are revoked. So now let me, okay, see here that one record, whatever we have created earlier has gone. So that means this is how we can create the permissions. And similarly, if I want to create a role, okay, like a data analyst role. So what they will do for this database, if they wanted to do that, so create a role. They can create the role as well. So for the whoever the user having this role, data analyst role, okay. So what are the permissions they have? Like a select, insert, on which database and for which role. That means any user belongs to the data analyst role, okay, they can able to perform operation select and insert. So this is to execute this. So we are doing this. Grant, select and insert. So that means this command is telling that, okay, so any operations, my database is not there. So here DCL DB. So any database if you create, so we can able to execute it. So this is how we can provide the access to the database or data analyst. Similarly, if I want to provide a data analyst role to this user, assigning a role to a user, for example, data analyst, software engineer, okay, data scientist, something like that. Okay, if you wanted to assign the, okay, so then I can go and assign the role to a person. So which is already the test user we have created. So that means the test user is having the role of data analyst. So the data analyst has what? Select and insert. So this is how we can provide. Now let me see the what test users. Okay, sorry. What are the permissions he has? Okay, as a user, what are the permissions he has? So he has data analyst role for this user. So this is the data analyst role has what? Data analyst role has the select and insert permissions. So like this, we can provide the permission to the users as well as the roles also. So like a show command can be used just to understand either for the role or this one. So I think role also same, I think. Okay, show. So if you look at this, what this role has like a select and insert on like a two database. My database, if it is there for this, and DC and DB. On the two databases, it has the permissions. So this is the permission it has. Similarly, if I want to revoke, okay, so for this actually, if I want to revoke the role of data analyst, I can revoke this. So now if you go to the test user, so now there is no role of data analyst. That means we have understood how to create a user, how to create a role, how to assign a role to a user, and also we have understood how to show the grant the permission and see the permissions, what privileges he has, data analyst as well as a test user. It means that, okay, what is the role has permission and what is the user has a permission. So that we have seen that. So similarly, when you revoke, it will removing the permission, and that's what we have seen as usual. Then if I want to remove the data analyst role itself, okay, if I want to remove the data analyst itself, so I can go and remove this actually. So that means it has completely removed it. So the drop role we have done. So that means finally what we have understood quickly, if I refresh. So what I have done is I have created a one database. So in this, we know that what is DCL, data control language. Here, when you are creating the user for this, how to create the user? This is the command in MySQL. We can create the user on which DB. So test user, maybe here Ramesh at localhost. This is the password we have prescribed. The person who logs in as test user, and by giving this password, he can able to log in this. Okay, and he can able to access that actually. So that means like normally I log in through the admin, right? So similar to that, they can log in. And what are the commands he has, privileges he has to work on that we have seen. And also we have seen how to show and how to revoke. Next step, what I have shown is how to create a role actually. Role, because like for one user, one permission I cannot give. Rather, in an application, maybe 3 to 4 or 5 roles will be there. Better to create those roles. If the data analyst wants to do the analysis and 10 people are working as a data analyst, for them, they need access for the DB and permissions to execute some queries. So then I can go and create a role like a data analyst, and whatever the permission they can do select and insert, but not update. So this is what the permission is given to this guy, data analyst role, the person who is playing the data analyst role. Since there is no users in data analyst, so we have grant to this user. So that means the test user become the the data analyst actually. And show grants. So this is just to check that. And this is how we can do that. And finally, revoking we have seen. That means removing the role from the user, okay, or permissions from the role. So that we can do using the revoke command. Finally, if I want to remove entire data analyst concept only, then you can go and drop the role only as a data analyst. So this is how we are able to understand that actually. Similarly, if I want to see the permissions, we can show grants, okay, like what is the current user has it, okay. So this is also, we can, the current privileges. See, I logged in the application just to check myself, okay, what is the roles I have. Okay, if I wanted to show that, so these are the current role, the admin, whoever is logged in now. I have all the permission, grant, select, insert, update, delete, so many commands I have access. So because this is an admin login. Whereas if I go to the like a test user login, probably you may not see that actually. So you may not able to see the this. For example, if you go to here, only one permission is there. So what is the password? Password 1, 2, 3. So for example, workbench. So plus new connection. 120 username is test user. Okay. Connection. That's 1, 2, 3. If I try to access, password 1, 2, 3. So this is the current user, right? So this is the login. So if you schema, if you see, okay, he cannot able to see that. But let me go here. So I have two workbench. One is this, another one is test. So here, if I wanted to show that, what is the current show grants? So he has only this much role. So that means it has the default role. For example, if I go and create grant, this one, and I will assign to this permission. So that means in our DBA we have done. As a user, test 1, 2, 3. Now let us. Okay. So grant this one. Only one this plus one. Just select insert. Let me create user. Okay, it is there. We have given show grants. What is the grants he has? So only this much. So now create a role. It is there, I think. So we have created role. Let me insert the select and insert. And I am assigning a role to this. Now let me see here. We have, now let me go here. Since this user has a permission. Now, since he has the data analyst role, he has all the permissions what data analyst has it. So this is how we can provide, because we have two login. One is the super user password, that is admin password, okay, as a DBA. And this is normally the user password. So this is how we can provide grant and revoke commands to the user. So this is what we have discussed as a part of DCL. Any questions here? Any questions? Able to follow? Ansi?
No, sir, no questions.
Yeah. So Ansi, Manu Ravindran.
Yes, able to follow.
So you are able to follow, all of you are able to follow, right? So as a data analyst or okay, as a web developer, normally they should understand earlier days what is DBA used to do, this type of operations they used to do that, okay? And this, when we deploy the application nowadays for enterprise applications or something like that, nowadays it is very less people are working. Now people are talking about cloud engineers. They will take care both database and as well as this, okay? Because of that, and also most of the database nowadays they are creating is MySQL, Postgres. Rather than database system, they are creating the like a normal, simple database that can be easily, it can be managed. In such situation, it is better to have an idea. So that's why we have understood what is DCL. So that means in the long, from past, the what we call it as a 12 to 15 days, okay, we try to understand what is SQL, what is DDL, what is DML, and what is DCL also we have understood it. And also we understood how to write a queries, okay, and what are joins.